Just bear with me. And without much waiting, I'll get our first speaker on screen for OMPEG's iTALK. Just kindly bear with me while I get our first speaker on screen for you. Our first speaker for today is Manoj Karkhanis. Manoj, before I introduce, I'll give everyone a quick background about iTalk, and then I'll introduce you and set the floor for you. As briefed earlier, our new series is called iTalk, insightful, incisive, and inspiring. The purpose of launching iTalk is twofold. As mentioned earlier, OMPEG is a powerhouse of diverse talent. iTalk is an opportunity to bring that powerhouse talent and knowledge in a compact manner to everyone. It is also an opportunity to provide a platform for OMPEG's talented professional entrepreneurs to share their words of wisdom and their golden nuggets for the wider community. That's the simple principle behind iTalk. This is our new series. This is our first inaugural session, and we are thrilled to have three great speakers today. Now, let me have the pleasure of introducing Manoj Karkhanis. Many of you may already know Manoj. Manoj is a very dynamic UK-based Maharashtrian entrepreneur and CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Decimal Factor, a leading fintech company. Manoj will talk more about fintech, of course. In 2008, at the height of financial crisis, when no high street bank was willing to help small businesses, Manoj left his high-paying position, took a giant leap of faith, and started Decimal Factor. 10 years on, Decimal Factor is a leading credit brokerage firm in UK, US, and other countries. So without further ado, Manoj, over to you. Now, Manoj is going to talk to us about fintech, and we had given option to Manoj to present through slides or speech only. Manoj prefers to talk to us about fintech. What he's going to do is, his topic is demystifying fintech, as I understand. And he will start from a broad spectrum of fintech, then zoom in onto some special areas of fintech, and then incisive insights about what it takes to be a successful fintech investor and entrepreneur. Manoj, with that, floor is all yours.
Hey, thanks, Ani. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Speaking today as a leader from the fintech world, I have given my best 12 years to Decimal Factor, initially as a financial services brokerage firm, which pivoted to a fintech model in 2018. However, creating a unicorn under my leadership still eludes me. On a lighter vein, I feel a bit like Virat Kohli, who does not know what else he could have done better in the past 8 years from his team and his country. Yet, an ICC trophy or big trophy under his captainship eludes him. When Ani asked me about, can you speak on demystifying fintech, I accepted his offer because I feel demystifying is a process of undergoing or undoing a mystery. And I feel perfectly qualified, having spent a lot of time with very successful fintech leaders and some not very successful fintech leaders over the past 10 years. I have indeed learned from the success, but more from those who have experienced failures. Also, I've seen my fair share of success and took some of the very nasty failures straight on my chin. Okay, so guys, let's go. Okay, let's begin. In my address today, I'm talking to fintech entrepreneurs and I'm talking to fintech innovators, especially small investors that invest in crowdfunding platforms, SCIs, seed enterprise investment schemes, and EIS schemes, enterprise investment schemes. If you feel you're not one of the two, then even more reasons why you should hear me carefully. I would hope that I can demystify fintech enough to help you become either an entrepreneur or an investor in the fintech space. How many of you have heard my fintech, the Gruffalo story on My Marathi? Please put your hands up on Zoom, and I'll have a quick look later. But I'm not sure many have. So, by the way, I'm not going to repeat it again here. All I'm saying is that if you haven't, please do visit the My Marathi site or I think it's also available on YouTube. If you do My Marathi Manoj, it will come up. Jumping into fintech, fintech, as we know, refers to companies that are introducing innovation into financial services. That is the one line of it. But then, if you go deeper, there are 12 main fintech areas. One is new entrants to banking, two could be innovation in payments and remittances, three could be digital lending and innovation, four could be commercial banking transformation, five could be next generation commerce, crowdfunding and crowd investing, innovative wealth management services, big data, art and artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, blockchain and distributed ledgers. I think I've covered all, but I think, insurtech and identification, cyber tech, and risk tech. These are broad. I mean, I'm not covered all. And of course, fintech is a very evolving place. So newer spaces can come and present itself. But largely, I think, what I've said would cover most of the new, entrance into the fintech space. We do not have time enough to, talk about all of them. So I'm just going to elaborate on one, which is the new entrant to banking. Some of the examples are Revolut, Monzo. Your new categories of banks are being created. Neo banks, challenger banks, and iBanks. They are purely digital and specialized in specific niche. The biggest challenge these banks have versus the traditional counterparts is the traditional banks have thrived for years because of our trust or because of our customer trust, because of customer trust. Unless you are a millennial or a later generation, and most of you here are not. Most of you have a neo bank account. You may have a neo bank account, but you still put your deposits in savings, in salary, and salaries in traditional banks. Versus millennials and the later generation just don't know or don't have an account, most of them in the traditional bank. So that's the difference. But there is all about, but all about this is going to change now. You see a few neobanks, challenger banks are breaking the complete barriers and going beyond their barriers. See Revolut for that matter. Okay, it started as an e-money app for app with a card for opening a quick account. People used to use it, students used to use it, or making remittances or reducing the cost of FX for travelers. That's how it really started. Okay, today it's a bank, and in more than 100 European countries, the London-based fintech received an approval recently as a licensed broker dealer in the US, and is building and investigating investing building and investing and saving app to manage all of its clients. So it's really gone beyond its scope. The 33 billion mobile app now offers more than, I think, 1,100 plus securities, including cyber currencies, cyber cryptocurrencies, fractional shares, along with banking and lending products. Users even have seen the ability on this app to put orders off trading hours. Now this is really going into complex user experiences. So you can see it is not only just the digital experience in just remittances or vanilla banking. They're now challenging the traditional bank in every sense. So I thought I'll kind of cover this one area, and I can proudly also share with you that Nikolai Strotonsky, who is the founder of Revolut, and I shared the same office space over a year at L39. I'm right now speaking to you from L39, and it's called Level 39. It's on the 34th floor of One Canada Square, and it's a fintech space. And we shared, his desk was 5 desks away from me, where he and his colleague, a colleague called Matty Custon Ross, were creating a unicorn. So I've seen creating a unicorn being born literally 5 desks away from me. And Nikolai used to have this big, 50-inch TV next to him with a dashboard with all his numbers on it. Pretty meticulous guy. And this was a time when he did not even have 1,000 customers. So I used to come to the office, and on my way, I should just pull Matty's leg. I said, Matty, I would say to him, I said, why do you have this big screen on your table here? Matty, the numbers never move. And, he literally looked back at me and he smiled and he said, one day they will move, Manoj. Today, the business is 33 billion and growing. So, Matty, a few years later, Matty left Revolut. He started his own successful fintech firm called Flux. Flux, I don't know whether you know about Flux, but Flux is a fintech that has built a technology platform for banks and merchants to power itemized digital receipts and more. Has seen its length pilot with, I think it's the Barclays. I don't think I know it's with Barclays, and today full Flux powered digital receipts are now available as an opt-in for all the UK Barclays debit card holders with the bank's main mobile app. So he's done pretty well now. When Matty has just started his new startup Flux, I asked him, I said, hey, Revolut was doing so well. Why did you leave? He simply answered, he said, Manoj, you pay contactless and with your mobile phone today, but you get a receipt on thermal paper. While payments and has gone contactless, receipts are still in the dinosaur age. I want to solve this problem. These two answers by Matty and the interactions by Nikolai left a very lasting impression on me. I realized the extraordinary success is achieved by simple and focused individuals who focus on solving a problem and working on their ideas or solutions to achieve meaningful goals. So I think, while people might think there's a secret sauce, and like in the Bravehearts, Mel Gibson said, the enemy, you would have thought that Braveheart is somebody 7 foot tall. No, I'm not. I'm 4.5. So I think, from a perspective of an entrepreneur, you think that these big entrepreneurs who have created $1 billion and on their way for $1 trillion industry are something extraordinary. No, they're simple people solving simple problems, right? This brings me nicely to what I think makes a good fintech entrepreneur. I said to you twice. I said that, and I'll just repeat it once one more time and I'll continue. Is basically I'm going to focus on fintech entrepreneurs and investors. So coming nicely to what I think makes a good fintech entrepreneur. Okay, I think number one, a fintech entrepreneur needs an opportunistic mindset that helps them identify the gaps in the market. This is very important. So many times I have seen fintech ideas, especially at in the fintech spaces that I am, that they're trying to solve a problem or address a gap that does not exist. Far too many Me Too concepts are also right there. Nothing wrong with them, attempting a Me Too concept. But if you think it can be done better, you try. Otherwise, all the time I see people in love with their ideas that they never even dare to ask themselves if the idea itself presents the opportunity or actually identifies a gap in the market. And so one opportunistic mindset is very, very important. Number one. Number two, I think formal education and training is very, very, very important. Formal education was never my forte. Okay, I barely passed out as a graduate. This point coming from me will surprise many. But today, when I have my fair share of my gray hair, I understand and appreciate what it brings. Unknowingly, I too got my formal training from 5 years and doing extensive training courses by Xerox. Formal education or trainings are essential for noticing when opportunities or interpreting events as promised opportunities. It's a science, actually. So, training and formal education, very important. You've got to be proactive and have a high degree of persistence. This enables a fintech entrepreneur to explore the opportunities and they've identified. As effective innovators, they are more driven, resilient, and energetic anyway. So I would say point number three, proactive and a high degree of persistence. Fourth, I would say a heavy dose of prudence. Contrary to what many people think, right? People think that successful fintech innovators are more organized, cautious, and risk averse than general people. So more than people think, no, they're actually more risk takers. Those of who know me know taking risks is my second nature. Again, this point from me does not come very naturally. But I do understand the need of a heavy dose of prudence. Please understand, although higher risk taking is linked to business formation, so it's not actually linked to business success. What I mean by that, taking a plunge, leaving your job to start a new entrepreneur, venture, is not the same, or the same person cannot. It doesn't mean the same person cannot be, a risk averse or a cautious when it comes to his or her innovation. So a healthy dose of prudence is very important, I think, in a fintech entrepreneur. And the last 2 points are, I think they should have a social capital, and they should have entrepreneurial, usually people will tend to have a higher EQ. What I mean by social capital is, good fintech entrepreneurs rely on throughout their entrepreneurial process. Serial innovators tend to use their connections and network to mobilize resources and build strong alliances, both internally and they do that externally. And as I said to you, entrepreneurial people tend to have higher EQ, which enables them to sell their ideas and strategize to others and communicate with the core group, with people they know, to establish a mission, or to communicate to the core mission to the team, right? So that's they seem to have a slightly higher emotional quotient. So having stated the six, I'm sorry it sounded a bit like theory, but having stated the six things that make a good fintech entrepreneur, it brings me nicely to what a good fintech investor should be. And I think, the answer is very, very simple. The answer is someone who can find an entrepreneur who knows all the above or has those six traits, and if not at least tick most of the above, I think would be, if you can find an entrepreneur, that's the first thing what you would want as a as an investor, or a fintech investor, to do, to find that person, to be able to identify that person. But once you have done that, and everybody's not going to qualify and be textbook. You're not going to find somebody who with all the characteristics, but the more the better. But there's one more thing, okay, which I think investor needs to get, and answer before investing in a firm or an entrepreneur. And the investor needs to know if the fintech entrepreneur, he is investing in, or she's investing in, has the necessary grit. I've said before, grit loosely, I can define as passion and perseverance. If the entrepreneur lacks a few qualities about what I've mentioned, is fair enough, not an issue. But they definitely need to have grit, because if you see, grit is the most underrated but the very most important ingredient of success. That's what keeps them going. Okay. I also feel that the second classic mistake I think investors make is that they think all creative people are good innovators. No, they are not. The key difference between creativity and innovation is execution. I would suggest investors, or good fintech investors, or if you want to be one, take the time to meet the potential entrepreneur and try and get a gist of how well they kind of execute things. Lastly, most investors believe that they should invest in what they know. I've seen this very common. Oh, I know medicine, I'm going to invest in medicine. Oh, I understand technology, I'm going to invest in technology. A subject they understand or they think they know better is what you should invest in. Completely wrong, according to me. I think this is a big mistake, because all possibilities exist in the unknown. The best success will come from the unknown. So surrender yourself to the right entrepreneur, find the right entrepreneur, surrender yourself to the right entrepreneur as an investor. And once you decide to back him or her, do it wholeheartedly. That is the secret, right? I always say in detachment, and obviously it's a known law of detachment. In detachment lies the wisdom of uncertainty. In wisdom of uncertainty lies the freedom from your past, from the known, which is the prison of your past conditioning. And in your willingness to step into the unknown, the field of all possibilities, we surrender ourselves to the creative minds that orchestrates the dance of the universe, right? So remember this, it's the unknown where there is more excitement than the known. So surrender yourself to the right entrepreneur and, back them wholeheartedly. Now you will say, Manoj, you've touched on everything, but What about the idea itself? Okay, you're not spoken about what's a good fintech idea. How much weightage would you give to the idea itself, Manoj? I would say zero. In short, there is no point in just hoping for a breakthrough idea. What matters is the ability to generate many ideas, discover the right opportunities to develop them, and act with drive and dedication to make and achieve meaningful goals. Ideas don't make people successful, it's the other way around. So become the fintech entrepreneur who will make ideas successful, or become the fintech investor who will make fintech entrepreneurs successful. I hope I have added some value today. Thank you very much.
Manoj, thank you so much. I came in on screen because I was joining you in your high energy and excitement, and the high note you left us all on. That was amazing, very high energy. And thank you so much for agreeing to be our inaugural speaker for this session of iTalk. There are lots of questions coming on chat. What I'm going to do is, looking at the time, I'm going to take one or two questions which you can briefly answer. And then
Yep.
I would request Manoj to also look at the chat window and interact with people, so people can connect with you one-to-one also. So here is one quick question. I'm going to start with Ask Talwart. Ravi asked question on crypto. I'm touching on topic which you've not spoken about. That Ravi from Milton Keynes, he asks, does crypto has sub avenues to innovate and start business? If you can quickly take up on that.
So, yes, I mean, as I said, fintech has many areas which are, I pointed 12, and luckily, now that he's asked
Yeah.
me the question, I mentioned the 12. And crypto was one of them. So yes, crypto is one of the very serious ones at the moment. We invested in a business called Clear Factor. Again, sounds very close to Decimal Factor when we founded it, and it's completely based. So it's clearfactor.io. It is based on cryptocurrencies. So I think the limit, the subject is pretty much very deep. Okay, and I would say that yes, it has avenues, and that's my simple answer to the question. But however, I'm very happy to take an offline chat and
Sure.
go a little bit deeper on that question if you
Okay.
like.
Thank you, Manoj. There's one more question I'm going to take, and then after five, just for everyone, I'll to take one or two take questions for the speaker while they're in the flow. After 5 o'clock, when the session finishes, we'll hang around for 15-20 minutes and we can interact more. And of course, we'd encourage you to connect to all the speakers on LinkedIn and their websites and follow them on Twitter and their social media channels. And I'm sure they'll be more than happy to share their knowledge. One question, Manoj, from June Reska. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. Please don't mind. Question from June is, quickly, what are the biggest fintech trends that everyone should know about these days? So if you could just list trends that everyone should know about.
So thanks. And June is one of the leaders in the fintech as well. She's runs a business called PayMob, and it's a very interesting business. So thank you, June, for asking this question. But I think currently, I think what is trending the most is that people are now looking at areas where innovation has not really happened much. So, for example, on the payments and the remittances side, a lot has happened with the consumer, but there is a little bit less innovation that has happened on say the merchant side. So things on those sides are happening. Again, there are certain products which are very complex products, especially from a trading perspective in the financial services side. And now there are many that are now touching into that space and trying to create newer businesses of fintech in those space. So I think the simple question again goes back to a very basic question that you asked is, has somebody solved a problem here before or not? If they haven't, then they need to start looking into that. And the trends will fluctuate to how innovation fluctuates as well. So I would not particularly say, answering June's question, that there's any particular kind of trend upwards or downwards. But the larger trend people now talk about is because COVID is happening, a lot of consumer behavior, digital behavior, and fintech behavior changing because of the patterns that we are seeing is the biggest talk right now.
Manoj, thank you so very much for such a high start and answering those questions. I'm asking questions on behalf of audience to keep this fast and moving.
Please.
Thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom and insights from fintech. I would encourage you to engage with people on the chat, and some people may hang around. So thank you so much for your time. And we'll now move
Pleasure.
on to next speaker, Manoj. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ani. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out on a Saturday afternoon. So I really appreciate that. And a big
See,
kudos to OMPEG and Team OMPEG and all its members. Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Manoj. Yeah. Okay. So I'll now, it's my, thank you, Manoj, for that, getting us started on a high note. Now, our next speaker is OMPEGian Pankaja Karnekar. And I'm making a highlight, special mention, OMPEGian Pankaja Karnekar, just as Manoj is OMPEGian Manoj Karkhanis. All these are OMPEG members who have agreed to share from their world. Pankaja Karnekar is founder director of Brand Castle, and today she's going to talk quickly about emerging trends in AR and VR, that is augmented reality and virtual reality. She helps a lot of companies with immersive technologies. She has experience as a consultant, has worked with various organizations across UK and the world to build solutions in AR and VR and mixed reality. She is also currently assisting a global immersive experience community to build a library project references for industry and research purposes. So Pankaja, with that, over to you. We are eager to listen about emerging trends in AR and VR. I'll go off the screen. Over to you. And once you finished, I'll take few questions. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much, Ani sir. And hi, everyone. All right. So I started Brand Castle 2.5 years ago. And since then, we only focus on projects in AR, VR, and MR, but we also do e-learning and learning management system. So basically, Brand Castle focuses on education. But today here, I'm going to actually speak on what exactly this AR, VR is, what are the trends, how it can put to work. And if you're a professional or if you're a business and if you want to actually have this technology within your company, what are the things that you are going to require? So I have just prepared some, a short PPT, which I'm going to walk through with you. I'm going to share my screen. And obviously, meanwhile, if you have any questions, please put them on chat. If Ani sir is not able to actually cover your questions, no problem. If you can just mention your contact number or like maybe an email address or something in the chat, I will definitely get back to you after my, once this PPT is done. So I'm just going to share my screen now.
We can see it, Pankaja. Go.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So let's start. So basically, these are the pointers that I'm going to speak today. First of all, I'm just going to tell you what exactly AR, VR, and MR is. Then I'm going to give you, because we are going to talk about the trends. So I'm just going to tell you a bit deeper about VR and AR. Then I'm also going to talk a bit about metaverse, like what exactly it is or what exactly we are expecting in future. Then we will come on the tools and technologies and theme composition. Basically, these last two parts would be for people who might want to get into this career, or maybe businesses who wants to actually implement this technology in their work. So let's start with the types of technologies or the types of immersive technologies. So what basically these technologies does is it lets you immerse yourself in a virtual reality or like a virtual environment. Basically, it would be a fake environment. It could be created into 3D, or maybe it could be a real environment, but maybe shot some other place and then you're just there. But exactly, you might be just in your lab or maybe just in your home, but basically you can experience the other environment through this kind of devices. Now, first is a virtual reality. Now here, to experience virtual reality, you need a virtual reality headset. If you see here in the picture, the lady is wearing the headset. Her eyes are completely shut from the outside world. So what she can actually experience within that device is what exactly her virtual device is going to show her, virtual reality device is going to show her. AR or augmented reality, usually people also refer mixed reality as augmented reality. So what exactly augmented reality is, when you experience through any device, maybe with your phone or maybe with mixed reality headsets, so a graphical layer of any product or maybe something will actually run on your real environment. So it's basically an overlay of graphical 3D model or something, which will actually overlay on your real environment. So basically, for example, now how exactly AR applications work. Once you start your application on your mobile phone, it will take control of your camera. Then there would be some markers or maybe some placement that you need to do with your phone. Once you do that, a graphical 3D model will appear on your camera phone, and what you can see in the background would be the real environment, and the graphical thing can appear on your phone. So that's how you basically experience the AR. And mixed reality is much more advanced than AR, because in mixed reality you can control that particular 3D model. You can even do that in AR, but there are some, like, things that you might not be able to do in MR, which is mixed reality headsets. Now the picture you see here, a person is wearing the headset device that is called as Microsoft HoloLens, so which are like much more advanced. And obviously there are some like, many kind of controls that this kind of headset device can give you. And then the second thing is, what you will see from your headsets like this one will be more realistic than what you will see, or what kind of experience that you will actually get to see from augmented reality. Now, mostly people know this technology just as being used in games, but it's not just for games. But now, because these technologies are emerging, people are taking these technologies from games to trainings to maybe work, which is more into procedure or process kind of work. So let me take you step by step, like, where exactly this technologies can put to work. So for that purpose, I'm just going to quickly go through with you of what tools are going to be required. So once I show you what tools are required, maybe that is where you can actually relate your current work, what you would be doing or what you're looking to do, and then you can basically connect where you can use these technologies. Now, when I talk about virtual reality, there are 3 different kinds of headset devices that comes into virtual reality. Now, majorly, what you might know is a device that will look like this, where there would be a kind of small pocket where you can place your phone, you can close the pocket, you will put your headset on your eyes, and then you can make it play. Now, this is something what actually comes for the purpose of games. When you are playing a virtual reality game, this is how something, this is kind of device that you will see. Now, for basic requirements in virtual reality or like basic applications, this is like a kind of tool. Now, what you see here in the picture is a Google Cardboard. This is also a virtual reality headset device, but it's a smartphone based. Even the picture you saw earlier, which was a smartphone based device, what this kind of devices do is it has a small pocket, which you will see here, where you will place your phone. And then that is how you will experience your virtual reality application or experience. Now, where can we use smartphone based devices? First of all, there are also like other pointers that are mentioned here. These are like wireless. It has limited tracking and motion, so what this can be done for? It has limited motion control, then preferably it can be only used for 10 to 15 minutes to avoid, motion sickness. Then the quality of the picture that you will see would be basic quality. Now imagine if I'm just playing a short game or maybe a training, which is just going to be a really small practical thing for me. And that is what basically I will prefer to, create, or that kind of application is what I will prefer to create for this kind of headsets. And second thing is, if you're looking for creating an application for a large number of people, as a company, usually when you create something like this, I mean, a virtual reality experience, you will have to create a virtual lab for yourself in your company. Because when you put your headsets on your eyes, everything is shut. You cannot see what's happening. If you're going to try this at home, there is a possibility that you might, you might not know that you're just going to step on your coffee board or a coffee table. So that is the reason you are going to need a virtual lab first for experiencing this kind of experiences. And secondly, now, why this would be like a basic quality and why just preferred for 10 to 15 minutes. Now imagine, as I said, like if you're targeting for a large amount of people, usually companies cannot spend too much on the headset devices. And Google Cardboard, like this kind of device, can actually be available in the market from say like $10 or £10 something. So that is where basically the standalone or like the cardboard made look like devices can be actually bought from the market. So if you're targeting for a huge audience, but what you want to deliver is really tiny in the experience, this is the kind of device that you can go for. And what is motion sickness or like motion control? So basically, what you can experience is in this phone is, first of all, the graphical quality would be what your phone is showing, because you are going to place your phone in there, and limited tracking because you cannot walk too much. Now, because it's a very cheap device, people might even try to experience that in your home. And similarly, it's not safe in the home. So basically, as a developer, we prefer to create small experiences in this kind of headset device. And then secondly, what you see, and if the experience is moving, but if you're not moving yourself or you're not walking yourself, it is going to give you motion sickness. So that's the reason this is a very basic quality of the headset device. And you should target, or if you're creating say like an application or an experience or a game or maybe a practical training, you should look for this one. Then the second one is standalone. Now, standalone devices is much more advanced. There are so many in the market, but the main ones here you will see is Oculus Quest, which is actually from Facebook. And these are like the virtual, the wireless ones, but similarly, it is going to, shut your outside world. But then here, there are like, much more advanced controls that you will have much more it won't be just like the where you will just place your phone here. This is like an Android itself. You can once your application is ready, immediately you can import that in your device here. And once you put your glasses on, you're ready to play with this. Then there are two sensors that comes, which will be like your hands in the virtual reality experience. And when you are looking to experience something like this, you need a proper virtual lab. This is not to play at home or something. You will need a virtual lab which is created for your experience. And here the quality of experience or the virtual reality is much more be like medium to high, because when we spoke about the smartphone based one, the graphical quality that is going to be used there was your cell phone one, I mean your mobile phone one. But here the graphical quality would be much more better. And because you would be in a practical lab where you can move yourself and your experience would be created using your virtual lab, so there would be a positional tracking, and then you can wear this for like from minutes to hours. So if you're looking for an experience which would require, or maybe a practical work that will take for minutes to hours, this is something that you should actually look for. Then the third one is a PC or a console one. Now this is like much more advanced than the standalone one devices. And guys, these devices are also emerging right now. It's not something like because metaverse, or you can say this immersive technology, is keeping on emerging. And here the examples that I have given, there are so many options of devices out there in the market. So yes, but this is like when we talk about PC or console, the quality of the experience that you're going to have in this kind of device is going to be ultra HD, because the graphical quality that this is going to use would be from your computer. This device is actually connected to your computer, then positional tracking is possible. Obviously, you're going to need a virtual lab for using this kind of device. And there would be sensors which will actually turn to your hands when you're in a virtual reality headset.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'm just keeping a check on time. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, all right. And then when I'm talking about augmented reality, what you basically is going to require is your tablet, your phone. And then there are a few types of, augmented reality as well. One is a marker-based AR. Imagine that you are going to a restaurant and you want to see how your things are, maybe your dish is created. And then there is a QR code or maybe something, picture or a marker on your menu. You just put your phone on, download the application that has been asked by the restaurant. Once the camera starts, you just, scan the marker or maybe the placement or maybe whatever that is placed on your menu. And then you can just see, or maybe now how you can see an aeroplane on, and basically what this here is a camera view, a person seeing an aeroplane, which is a layover on his camera view. And what you see over here, like the paper, is basically the marker. So this kind of experiences can be created for maybe application you can see, or even like for weight-based kind of augmented reality. The another one, which is,
I'm so sorry to disturb your flow. We're just running out of time. I just wanted to let you know that I still have to take some questions. How many do you have still? I mean, I know there's a lot.
Very few. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just like 5 to 6.
We'll run out of question time and other speaker time if you do. So is there anything specific that you want to highlight? And I'll appeal everyone to connect to Pankaja one-to-one as well.
So, yes. So all right. So majorly what I wanted to clear in this is, if you're a professional or if you're looking for creating such kind of experiences, what you will have to be, or maybe what kind of job roles or what kind of career opportunities there are in this sector. So these are the mainly tools. Now imagine when you are going to experience something, you will have to have a 3D model. So for 3D model, these are basically the 3D development tools which are majorly used. Then programming can be done in any language, but mostly people use C#, and then Unity and the Unreal are the mostly known softwares where this the 3D models are basically imported and then can be given different programming, like they can do this actions or that actions. And yes, AR Core and AR Kit is basically what is used when your application is ready. And yeah.
Okay. Are you finished, Pankaja? I have one quick question to ask, because
Yes.
We had kept 15-20 minutes for each speaker, so now we're well over time.
I'm really sorry to
but this area is vast.
So much.
No, the idea that's perfectly fine. You've given us a quick fly-through tour of everything in ARVR, and that's the idea, that give a quick flying view of everyone about ARVR. I have a quick question from someone from audience member. I'm going to do it rapidly. Is autopilot considered part of AR/MR? And then you can of course engage with the audience later on the chat. Is autopilot part of AR and MR? What is autopilot?
Autopilot.
Yeah.
Is it something specifically within autopilot, in the sense?
Where someone just messaged me, while this was going on, whether autopilot be considered as part of AR or MR. Maybe what I'll do is I'll send details and you can take that one-to-one.
Yes, there is a possibility, but these technologies are evolving. So once we understand what exactly
so like car driving, autopilot in a car driving.
I'm sure there are companies who would be already doing research on this.
Probably it's more AI. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry I've run out of time. It's my job to keep
I'm
everything
actually sorry
compact.
because there's so
Don't
much
worry
to
about
speak
it.
about these things. So
Not
yeah.
at all. OMPEGs, by definition, OMPEG is a supportive platform.
Yes.
It's a platform to give entrepreneurs and professionals an opportunity to bring their knowledge for the audience, and that's what we are doing. The idea is to showcase what you have and what you offer, as knowledge expertise from your area. And please engage with the audience on the chat. But at this moment, on behalf of OMPEG, thank you so much for being part of our very first iTalk. And I'm sure we'll see more of you. Please engage with the audience one-to-one, and then we'll have hang around time. But
thank
time
you.
for me
Just in case if there are any other questions, please, here is my email address and you can always reach me. And I'm sorry that I couldn't finish all my slides altogether. But yes, feel free to reach me, guys.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Please share this on chat window as well.
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much, Pankaja. Thank you. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you
so much. Yeah, no problem. So you can stop screen sharing, Pankaja. I need to get Bhau up. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, so after that, flyby tour of AR and VR, we are going to have very quickly Bhau Patil, or Bhau Patil as he's popularly known. Bhau is going to speak on opportunities in pharma tech. He's got 25 years of experience working on various roles in productivity, delivery of quality across Asia and Europe. He's worked closely with many pharmaceutical companies and hospitals and investigators. He is going to bring to us quick insights about pharma tech industry, something that probably we don't talk every day, but probably we should. With that introduction, Bhau Patil works as head of business operations in IQVIA. That's the name of the company. Bhau, over to you. And you have 10-15 minutes, and then I'll quickly come out with audience questions, and then you can engage with chat. Please keep raising questions for Manoj and Pankaja, and we'll take even after the event is over. Thank you. Bhau, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ani. Just wanted a quick check. Can you see my screen, and is my voice
Yes,
audible?
we can. All clear. Please go.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ani and OMPEG, for this opportunity. I think I'm the odd one. I'm not an entrepreneur, but what I'm going to share.
You're not the odd one, Bhau. Sorry, I need to cut in here because by definition, OMPEG is professionals and entrepreneurs. So it is made of entrepreneurs as well as professionals. So you're the perfect one. Please go.
Yeah. So what I'm going to share some of my views in terms of pharma tech opportunities. And when I say pharma tech opportunities, those opportunities for me as a professional, for you as an entrepreneur, or if you want to make career in pharma, and many others like us who are not part of this call or the meeting. So I just wanted to walk you through. These are my 4 points in terms of, and as we go along, I just want you to use chat function. And if you think about which are the world's most profitable industries, which name comes to your mind? Please use chat function and then see, and I'll come back to you. I'm also going to show you in terms of the rear mirror view of global biopharma industry. What the biopharma industry has done, and then forward-looking view of the same industry. And as we move forward, I want to, again, you will ask the question, but this is all good, but what is in it for me? What is in it for you and many others? So those are 4 parts. Hopefully you're using a chat function. And before this is my sort of disclaimer. The opinion made in this presentation, those are my own personal views. I'm not speaking on behalf of company. So I just wanted to quote that. So let's go with the first topic. Now, in terms of when I say, the world's most profitable industry, which name comes to your mind? And I see some names coming on the chat. And for the lack of time, what I want to do, I just want to walk you through. This is the most recent survey conducted literally about a month ago. And they have identified about, I think, the 15 most profitable companies of the world. I want to talk to you about those first 5. I'm just taking my, making sure my screen is visible to me. So if you look at these top 5, I think no surprise, the software industry, the computer peripherals, I think they come sort of number 1 and number 2, with I think well-known names, the Microsoft, Words, Apple's Macintosh operating system. The third is, of course, drugs and pharmaceuticals. And this is what we are going to focus on: the oil and gas industry, that number 4, and surprisingly, household products. The names like Colgate-Palmolive, Procter and Gamble, L'Oreal's. Those are, I think, the few names in the household product. So as I said, you can see the drugs and pharmaceuticals, which is what I want to focus on. This industry is, if you look at the 2020 net income, it's close to about $95.8 billion US dollar. And the capital returns close to 17%, with gross profit more than 640 billion US dollar. Now let's talk more about the rear mirror view of this global pharma industry. So if I look at, again, this is again very, very recent article I read last week. If you look at the top 10 companies in the biopharmaceutical sector who are spending on the research and development, and if you look at those top 10, and I'm sure that with this COVID pandemic, those names should not be surprise to you: Johnson & Johnson, Roche, Pfizer, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, Sanofi, Eli Lilly and Company. So these are those top 10 companies of the world in terms of their size, in terms of the research and development activities that they spend. And I think another important part, if I just want to focus your attention on towards the bottom left slide, you will see the top 20 pharmaceutical companies by location, their headquarters, majority of them in the US, Europe. But Asia, if you see, there are 2 right now. And more interestingly, if you go to this top 100 countries, Asia has about 45 pharmaceutical companies, and that number is growing. So that just shows you the focus of innovation which is occurring in India, in Asia as we speak. And I think more interestingly, if you look at in those top 10, top 100 companies, I just have a slide, and you will find very familiar names of those companies in India: Sun Pharmaceuticals, Aurobindo Pharmaceuticals, again in India. If you look at the Torrent, if you look at, I think, Lupin, Zydus Cadila. So these are the Glenmark Pharmaceuticals. So these are the companies, if you look at, frankly, in my life, about 25 years ago, these were very small companies, and they have now become some of those world's biggest players. And again, if I just look at 8 Indian companies, they have made into the list of those 100 best companies of the world in the pharma sector. So this is just an example which way industry is growing and where things are happening as we speak. The industry is almost like 1.27 trillion US dollar, and we have seen significant increase from 2001. So almost like 4-fold increase. And I'm sure, as we know, COVID-19, they framed much of the discussion around biopharma industries and pharmaceutical technology development. And many companies have become household names. I'm sure many of you know, from which company manufacture the vaccine, the words of AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, BioNTech. And I think as we see, the digital technology has opened a large amount of era in the biopharmaceutical industries with the use of some connected devices for health conscious patients. So that's maybe one area to look at. If you look at another rear mirror view of this industry, we have seen record sum of venture capital financing in the last year, almost like 28 billion US dollar just in the 3 quarters, compared to $27.4 billion in the previous year. So that's maybe you can see there were about more than 1,000 deals in 2021. And again, you will see on the right-hand side, some of the deals occurred and why, so the most of this, Merck and Company, Zaz Pharmaceuticals, Sanofi, they have acquired some of the smaller companies, and the motivation is, acquiring some of their molecules, which are more into various therapeutic areas, majority in cancer. And there have been very successful IPOs. Again, you will see some of those IPOs which occurred in 2021, is Sana Biotechnology. And I think, unfortunately, in maybe the 2021 did not see a lot of mega merger, because I think much of the focus was on the vaccine research. But I think there is an expectation those mega mergers will continue as we are slowly coming out of the wood through this pandemic. Let's look at now this, the forward-looking view of this industry, what this industry is looking at. And if I look at right now, in terms of those 4 or 5 themes, the artificial intelligence, robotics, they will continue to gain popularity in the pharmaceutical industry. I just read an article, the NVIDIA has launched Cambridge One, one of the most sort of, the supercomputer to help British pharmaceutical companies to speed the clinical research. Again, the use of decentralized clinical trial, which is the area I am in. And if you see, most of these vaccines which came, just in a matter of like, a year, it didn't come with some magic. The technology and the clinical research, I think they combine together. And I think that's another field, how we can use more of technology and make that technology useful to the patients, the clinical trial industry, and help to innovate further. Again, I think another area we see gene writing, messenger RNA vaccines. You have seen the examples of the COVID-19 vaccine, the Pfizer, Moderna vaccines. And I think those sort of technology are now, we are looking at how the technology can be used to meet unmet medical needs in other therapeutic areas, such as genetic disorders, inherited diseases. Quantum computing, I think that is coming up quite popular in the pharmaceutical industries to reveal previously unknown compounds, and that this is emerging very fast. As we move forward, coming out of the wood, majority of the research in the diabetes, cardiovascular, respiratory, it was sort of set to an halt because the most of the hospitals were closed. Patients were not willing to visit hospital unless they have COVID complication. And now, as we are coming out of pandemic, this vaccine, the diabetes research is going to sort of accelerate in 2022 and beyond. This is sort of just another forward-looking view. So if you look at, there is an expectation. I read this article just yesterday in terms of the United States Food, Drugs and Administration. We are expecting about high number of novel compounds to reach market this year. And if you focus on major therapies, the TG inhibitors, I know it is quite technical name, but for those who are not into this industry, this is more the group of molecules which will help in treating cancer immunotherapy. The RSV vaccine, respiratory syncytial virus, which is another sort of COVID kind of symptoms affecting children's and elderly population. So there is a lot of research going to emerge. Alzheimer's therapy, I think if you look at right now, most of some those developed countries, they're experiencing another challenge with old age population, and Alzheimer's disease is one of that area where still unfortunately there is no treatment available. So there is a lot of research happening in this area, and I'm just going to show you some of those top players in that Alzheimer's disease. You can see and some of the molecules that they are working on. Same way, some of these cancer therapies, there are a number of companies who are working in this area right now, and hopefully some of these molecules will hit into the market in the next few years. And same way, if I just look at the RSV vaccine, quite a few companies are engaged in terms of in this area. This is another area where we haven't seen effective treatments, and you can see like quite familiar players and their expected sort of timing of
Bhau,
those.
So sorry, Bhau. Quick question: can people take screenshots?
I've probably I would request not to,
because it will be recorded anyway.
Yeah, this and then yeah. So and
Okay.
again, this, yeah. Thank you. So these are some of the areas. So again, what I'm trying to say, I think there is a lot of still unmet medical need, and quite frankly, COVID is not the major disease burden for the pharmaceutical industry. There are more than 10 times killers, more than sort of COVID, like cardiovascular disease, where a lot needs to happen. And as we are using more of technology, you will see the European regulatory changes, especially the GDPR guidelines, data privacy protection, that needs to be kept in mind. And then now my last section, I know it is all technical, but then your question is, what is in it for me as an individual? Or again, if you ask me, what is in it for you and many others? So I just want to give you a few examples. And this is something on the left-hand side. As I said, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I'm very proud to say, my younger brother, he started his own sort of analytical service company back in India. which is OMA Analytical Services. And I think there is it is something more into sort of how you analyze some of these medical medicines, the samples, to make sure there are some various checks in put in place so that whenever you get that end product, that is of good quality. So again, these are very technical things, but the area what I want to highlight, he's sort of first generation entrepreneur. My father was secondary school headmaster, and I was discouraging him not to enter into this field. And my father had a dream because he was not good at studies during his college time. And he was thinking of buying an auto rickshaw for him. Again, I know it is very personal and very sensitive, but from there, he has reached to develop one of the state-of-the-art lab in Thane. So if anyone of you visit Mumbai, Thane, please go and visit that lab. I think this is sort of another opportunity. And on the right-hand side, this is sort of an area if those who wants to make a career in the clinical the biopharma industry, may not be for you, but maybe for your children's. I think the clinical research is, quite honestly, it's the way to go. If you look at the global clinical research industry market, it's $46.8 billion US, and there is a lot of scarcity in this market. I have seen in my own company, I was number 10 employee in my company in India when I started in '96. And we are right now 20,000 employees just in India, out of 70,000 workforce. And that's the growth we have seen. And it is not just with my company, but many others. As I said, Asia is becoming now that innovation hub. But at the same time, unfortunately, we are seeing those skill gaps. So this is just an area, those who are interested, I have conducted some of the 6-week certification course in clinical research last year. I plan to conduct that. Again, I will share with you the link of this course if your kids are interested. Happy to help them develop the next generation. And let me pause here. I know I have gone out of the...
Don't worry about it, Bhau. Thank you. That was very, very interesting and, excellent. This is not something that we hear every day. And of course, all of us have become more medically and, from pharma technology, more conscious after COVID. But of course, what you opened is that there are opportunities aplenty for everyone. And I would like to highlight again, Bhau Sahib Patil is an OMPEGian Bhau Sahib Patil, just like Manoj and Pankaja. These are all OMPEG speakers. Our purpose is to provide a supporting platform for successful professionals and entrepreneurs like this. I'm going to take one quick question, Bhau, for you. And sure. This happens to come from Mr. Rahul Lord. We know Rahul Lord is a big supporter of OMPEG, is also a journalist and associate editor of Asian Light. He has a question that, is it true that major pharma players have shifted from drug manufacturing to vaccine production? And reports that businesses are falling down for traditional business, pharma business. Is this true? If you can address this question quickly, and then we can close the session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ani, and I think thanks for that excellent question. And I think, quite frankly, again, as I said in the beginning, if you look at the major research, of course, last year it was all, COVID took, the limelight and vaccine research came into foray. But as I said in my presentation, if I just look at, there are 10 times more killers in other therapeutic areas, as I said, like cardiovascular, stroke, and that is number one area. Oncology is coming another one, cancer therapy, and I think that research will emerge. Unfortunately, we still do not have, the effective medical therapy in each of those, and that is the major area of focus. It was just last year, I think, everyone was talking about vaccine, but there is a lot of things happening in the background.
Thank you. Now I'll add just one top-up question on that very rapidly, so you can do it as a rapid-fire kind of question. Yeah. Investment opportunities for professional and entrepreneurs in pharma tech. What one area will you choose? One.
I think, again, this is something, as I said, I touched on the technology.
Yeah.
As I said, like now, the way, again, in terms of clinical research, in the traditional world, patients were going to the hospital to get treated.
Yes.
And now what is happening in this digital world, hospitals are reaching out to the patient. So we have wearable devices, you have patient diaries. So how you can bring in the technology? So there are a lot of the small startup players that are coming into the play, helping to speed that clinical research. And I know, I think we didn't have time, but if somebody comes with those ideas, telemedicine, I think, that's an area.
Telemedicine. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's one word I get. So that's a place for Rahul says thank you. And Bhau, Bhau, Manoj, Pankaja, and to entire audience. we tried to do this in compact time frame, and if it makes you wanting for more, then our purpose is served, because we wanted to give you a whistle-stop tour of all different diverse areas. Bhau, Manoj, and Pankaja will be more than happy to connect with you individually, and we encourage you to connect to all these OMPEGians on LinkedIn, and that's the purpose: connecting and inspiring professional growth. Now I'm going to get all our speakers on screen so we can thank them. Bhau, thank you very much for introducing a not everyday kind of topic for everyone. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for being part of our first iTalk. I'll get Manoj on screen again. Manoj, I'm getting all speakers on screen, and I just wanted to thank everyone in one go. Pankaja.
Thanks, Ani.
Yeah, Pankaja, you are on screen as well. So before
yes,
I wrap
thanks,
up, thank you, Pankaja, thank you, Manoj, thank you, Bhau. So for everyone who have given us the Saturday afternoon and evening to take a tour from fintech to AR, VR, and Bhau Patil's pharma tech. So this was our idea of iTalk: insightful, incisive, and inspiring. All these are successful professionals and entrepreneurs in their own rights. Please connect to them. And just as Pankaja spoke today of immersive technology, we tried to give you a little immersive experience of 3 areas. And as Manoj said, pick a problem and solve it. You could have identified some opportunity or something, and you can go after it. So thank you very much for giving us your time. Thank you very much, Bhau. Thank you very much, Manoj. And thank you very much, Pankaja. Or should I say OMPEGian Bhau, OMPEGian Manoj, and OMPEGian Pankaja, to giving us your Saturday afternoon to share these golden nuggets. People are still thanking you on chat. There is some interaction going on chat. But at this stage, I will bring the event officially to a close. I'll stop the recording, and then we can still interact with the audience, whoever wants to hang. Like after normal in real life events, after the event finishes, you hang around, you interact. We can't offer you any beer or drinks at this moment, but you are free to get your cup of coffee, drink glass of water, or any soft drink, and we can hang around. So
thanks, Ani. OMPEGian Ani. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And,
So
really,
on behalf of OMPEG,
you all are taking this whole group too, and well done. Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Today, helping me in the background were OMPEG and Samir Gujar, and OMPEG and Harshavardhan Soman. They have put a lot of information about OMPEG on chat. Have a look, connect with OMPEG, download my OMPEG app, and become OMPEG's member and help in contributing to growth of this community. So if you want to hang around, please do. But for now, officially from Ani, from OMPEG, bye-bye and have a good Sunday. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you very, very much.